All right, BC. This is going to be a pre 7.5. We need to know some long division. Now, before we get into long division of polynomials, let's review long division from 3rd grade, maybe, right? Let's see. So we did 3,612 divided by, I don't know. Let's start easy. Divide by 2. We're going to do this with long division. So, first thing we did, we said, how many times does 2 go into 3? Well, 2 goes into 3 once. So we put a 1 above the 3. And then we do 1 times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. We would subtract 3 minus 2 is 1, and then we'd bring down the 6, and that becomes 16. Now I'm going to look at 2 and 16. How many times does 2 go into 16? 2 goes into 16 8 times. 8 times 2 is 16. Subtract, you got 0. But then you'd bring down the 1. How many times does 2 go into 1? Well, 2 does not go into 1, so that becomes a 0. And then all you have to do is 0 times 2 is 0. Subtract, 1 minus 0 is 1, and then you'd bring down this 2. And then 2 goes into 12 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. You would subtract, you get 0. There's no remainder, so the answer is 1,806. Got it? Let's do one more like this. So let's say it was, I don't know, 6,587. And we're going to divide it by 3. So again, we first look at 3 and 6. How many times does 3 go into 6? Well, 3 goes into 6 twice. So 2 times 3 is 6. I subtract, you get 6 minus 6 is 0, and then we bring down the 5. So now how many times does 3 go into 5? 3 goes into 5 once. So we bring down, have the 1 up there. 1 times 3 is 3. Again, we subtract. 5 minus 3 is 2. And then we bring down the 8. So now that's 28. How many times does 3 go into 28? Well, I believe that's 7 times. No, 9 times. My bad. Because 3 times 9 is 27. And then we subtract. 28 minus 27 is 1. And then we bring down the 7. So that's 17. How many times does 3 go into 17? 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. You subtract. You get 2. There's nothing else to bring down. 3 does not get into 2. And then you guys had a remainder of 2. And now your remainder of 2, you guys used to write it as like R2 or something back in 3rd grade. Now we're going to write it as a fraction. We're going to say plus 2 out of 3 is left, whatever's there. And that's our answer. Now, why are we doing this? We are doing this because we're now going to divide polynomials, which you've done before in Algebra 2. We are just reviewing it. So, for example, if I had said, hey, do x squared plus 3x minus 10 divided by x minus 2. So if we set this up, I'm going to have x squared plus 3x minus 10 in here, and I'm going to divide it by x minus 2. I'm looking at the x and the x squared. What am I multiplying x by to get x squared? Well, I'd multiply by x, because x times x is x squared. So then I'll put it above the x spot. And then again, I'm going to take this x at the top and multiply it to everything there. So x times x minus 2. Well, x times x is x squared, so x squared, let's go with x squared. X times negative 2 is minus 2x. And like before, I am now going to subtract. I know I did this right because the x squares are going to cancel out. And now I just have 3x minus negative 2. Minus a negative becomes a positive, so it's really 3x plus 2x. That's going to be 5x. And I'm going to bring down the minus 10. Now I'm going to look at the x and the 5x. What am I going to multiply x by to get 5x? Well, I'm just going to multiply it by 5. And then I'm going to take this 5 and multiply it to everything there. So 5 times x is 5x. I know I'm doing it right because those are the same. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. I'm going to subtract. 5x minus 5x cancels out. Negative 10 minus negative 10, well, it becomes positive. So negative 10 plus 10 cancels out. I have no remainder, so my answer is x plus 5. All right, let's do another. Let's see. What if we did x squared minus 4x plus, I don't know, 12 divided by x plus 1. So the numerator goes inside the division sign, so x squared minus 4x plus 12. And I want you guys to notice something. Look at the order of the degrees. I have a degree of 2, a degree of 1, and then no degree, so it goes down. And then x plus 1. All right, so again, I'm going to look at the x and the x squared. What am I multiplying x by to get x squared? Well, I'm multiplying by x, because x times x is x squared. So x times x is x squared. X times 1 is plus 1x, or just x. And then I subtract. No, I did it right, because the x squares cancel. Negative 4x minus an x becomes negative 5x. And I'm going to bring down the plus 12. Now I'm going to look at the x and the negative 5x. What am I going to multiply x by to get negative 5x? Well, that's just negative 5, because negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. I'm going to subtract. I know I did it right, because the 5x's are going to cancel out. So I've got 12 minus negative 5. Minus a negative becomes a positive. So 12 plus 5 is 17. I can't multiply x by anything to get 17. So 17 is my remainder. So I write it as plus 17 over what's on the outside here, x plus 1. That's our answer. All right. Let's try another one. Try this one maybe by yourself. Pause the video and see if you guys can do this one by yourself. Let's see. We'll do x squared plus 5x minus 6 over, I don't know, x minus 2. So go ahead and pause. Try it by yourself. Here I'm going to do it. X squared plus 5x minus 6. And I've got x minus 2 over here. All right. X times what is going to give me x squared? An x. Take that x, multiply it to everything there. This becomes x squared minus 2x. And I'm going to subtract. I know I did it right because those x squares are going to cancel out. 5x minus negative 2x becomes 7x. And I'm going to bring down the minus 6. Now I'm going to look at x and 7x. What am I going to multiply by x to get 7x? A positive 7. Now look, right? 7, no x's, goes above the 6. These x's go there, just like that. 7 times everything here becomes 7x minus 14. Subtract. 7x's cancel out. I know I'm good. Negative 6 minus negative 14. Well, minus a negative here is going to become a positive. So it's really negative 6 plus 14. That's going to be 8. So my remainder is 8. X can't go into 8, so it becomes plus 8 over x minus 2. And that is my answer. All right, last one is, what if we did x cubed minus 3 over x squared minus 1. Now, here's the deal. The x squared minus 1 is going to go on the outside. Inside, I have an x cubed, and then I have a 3. I don't have an x squared. I don't have an x. I got to put placeholders for those spots. So x cubed is my highest degree, but I have to go down a degree each one. So I've got 0 x squares plus 0 x's and a minus 3. So this still is x cubed minus 3 with the zeros in the middle, but I've got placeholders for those other spots so I don't confuse myself. So then I'm going to say, all right, if I do x squared and x cubed, what am I going to multiply x squared by to get x cubed? Well, I just need one more x, so that's an x. And then I put it above the x spot. Again, still multiply here. X times x squared is going to be x cubed. X times negative 1 would be minus 1x. And then I'm going to subtract. That cancels. And then now you see why we had that x spot there. It's because now I can cancel and say, okay, 0 minus negative 1x, that's going to be a positive 1x. And I'm going to bring down the minus 3. Now the question is this. Can x squared go into x? Can I multiply x squared by anything that's going to give me x? No. So that's it. This is my remainder. So it becomes x minus 3 is my remainder over the outside, which is x squared minus 1. And that's my answer. All right. So your homework's a little bit different, as in you're not doing the section exercises. Okay, so this is assignment number 3. Today is, for you, the 9th. You're going to do page 373, but what you're doing is that quick review above that homework that's usually there under the blue. And you're going to do questions 1 through 10. So 1 through 4 is a long division, 5 through 10 is some A-B review. Just do that, and then tomorrow we'll get into the meat of 7.5.